All right, lesson 3. We talked about 3 different bar chord structures based on different notes. The E string bar chords based on the E string, based on the A string. These are in lesson 1 and 2 and 3 was based on the B string, second from the bottom. So E, A, and B, 3 different structures of bar chords. I talked about how to create majors and minors. Major, minor here, major, minor chord. We didn't cover a major and a minor based on the B string. So the second string from the bottom, going from a C, that was in lesson 3, to a D. The structure changes a bit on the minor, so I'll get into that later. Right, I want to cover working scales off of these bar chords. So if I was playing a G major here, if I wanted to play a scale off of it, say we're playing it and I wanted to play a major scale, if I'm going to start with this finger, the first finger, depending on which finger you start with on your scale, if I start with my second finger, the pattern's a little different, or is totally different than if I started with the first finger. So starting with this finger index, and this is a repeat octave. Notice on the guitar, if you skip one string and go up a fret, skip a fret, it's always an octave. Same thing with the A. On the A string, if I was A sharp, B, C, skip one, it's an octave, right? The only difference on that doesn't apply to, things change a little with this B string, because the B string, whoever designed the guitar, decided it was going to be a half step. You have to move up a half step. So it's a little different on that one, meaning if I was going to play it, see, it doesn't work here. You have to skip one. It's a half step higher. Whenever you involve this B string, you can skip a string, but you got to go up that extra fret to get the octave. So that's a little confusing, but it'll come clearer in a little while. So if I play off the E string, below E I play a G chord, and I want to do just a scale based on my first finger, the pattern would be this. Right? Now if I want to do the same, move up the neck, I can do the same exact pattern that I just did. The only difference is when you hit that B string, you got to slide up a half step, but it's the same pattern. Does that make sense? So if you start with this finger, it's the same pattern. So playing a G bar chord, you want to do a major scale off it with that first finger. You can repeat it, right? Okay, if you started that, if you do that, it'll be the same thing here. Let's do this bar chord. So we're basing off of the A string now. Our bar chord off the second string, the A string. So now we're doing a A, right? So if you just work your way up the neck, it'd be A sharp, B, C. So we're doing a C chord, right? You want to play off this C. If you do that same pattern I just showed you, that's a C major. You can repeat it. Just go to the octave. So it's the same pattern, but with the B, you have to slide up a half step. So same patterns. So to get the major with this first finger, if you're going to do this one, all right. And if you're going to play this other format that I showed you in lesson 3, with moving the C up to a D, same thing. Start. This is my C. When you're playing this format of a C, this is a C, and this is a C. So the first finger, these are both octaves. Okay. If I go to a D, there's 2 Ds involved here. I'm playing the D here, and then the D here. So if I wanted to run a scale on it, if I want to start with that first finger again, it's that same pattern. So the same pattern that I've used on all 3 bar chord structures. All right, so that's one pattern that you can use on all 3 of those bar chord structures. All right. Another pattern would be for all 3 bar chords would be if you started with your first finger. All right. lay down to this other bar chord. Start with your second finger again. Same pattern. Okay. Start with your same idea. Start with your second finger. Same pattern. So now we've learned the major pattern for all three of these bar chords that I've shown you, and they're repeatable patterns. They apply to all three of these bar chords. If you start with the first finger, it's this on all of them. Right? That makes sense? Okay. Start with the second finger. It's a different pattern, but it follows all of them. All right. So now you've learned major scales, and it's in two different pattern formats, and how you can use them on all three of those bar chords. Hope that makes sense to you.